If your hair just isn't growing and you feel like you've tried everything, you might be making one of these 7 common mistakes. Today, I'm going to break down all these 7 mistakes so that you can stop sabotaging your own hair growth. If you don't know me, my name is Angelica. I post videos at least twice a week all about growing long, healthy hair. So if that seems interesting, consider subscribing. The subscription button is right down there, as well as the bell icon. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications every single time I post. Let's get into the first mistake you might be making. That is sabotaging your hair growth. Mistake number 1, ignoring your scalp. Now, this seems like a no-brainer, but I don't think people think about their scalps as much as they should or as much as they need to. Your hair grows from your scalp. Your hair is not growing from the ends, it's not growing from the mid shafts, it's growing out of your scalp. So if you're looking to retain length, that's when you can look at your ends. But when we're talking about improving the rate of your hair growth, making sure that your hair can grow up to the potential that your genetics can possibly allow, you have to focus on a healthy scalp. Buildup and dandruff combined with lack of circulation can truly slow down and stunt your hair growth and even damage certain hair because your follicles are clogged. And the easiest way to get rid of dandruff, making sure that this is not seborrheic dermatitis, which is a completely different issue, but even then, getting rid of dandruff, itchiness, painful scalp, buildup, and clogged follicles can all be solved by one issue. Perhaps different brands, but one product: shampoo. Sometimes you may need a clarifying shampoo. Sometimes you may need something that has ketoconazole, like Nizoral and other anti-dandruff shampoos. Whether it's seborrheic dermatitis, dryness, dandruff caused by different reasons, in most cases, a shampoo can solve all these issues. Now, I will list some products perhaps in the video and in the description box below of ones that I recommend. Some of them may be affiliate links, which means I earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. This is just like Amazon links. So my first favorite shampoo that I think will work across the board, no matter what hair type you have, would be the Redken Cleansing Cream. It is a deeply clarifying shampoo, but it doesn't leave your hair feeling dry like most other shampoos. And then for people that have seborrheic dermatitis or extremely bad dandruff, I suggest something like a Nizoral. I think there's another one that the name has just gone out of my head right now, but it's also an antifungal shampoo. These 2 types of shampoos are great for ensuring that your scalp is completely clean and ready to also absorb whatever other products you put on your scalp. Another thing people underestimate is if you're shampooing your hair right, which means you are working that shampoo into your roots, making sure that your entire scalp is clean. This is like a scalp massage, which means if you wash your hair at least once a week, even if you don't do a full dedicated scalp massage, you are at least massaging your scalp during the shampoo process, and this increases the circulation to your scalp and stimulates hair growth. Let's get to mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is over manipulating your hair. Yes, over manipulation is one of the #1 reasons why a lot of people have damage and breakage, and sometimes we just don't realize that we're doing it. I'll give you a perfect example of something that I just realized recently, and this is something I already know, and that's why I figured it would be a great thing to mention, because sometimes you think that knowing something means you're doing it, right? Like you're like, oh, I drink a lot of water. I know that everyone is supposed to drink at least 8 to 10 glasses of water every single day. You might only be drinking 2 glasses, but because in your head you know that the average person should drink 8 to 10 glasses, and on a good day you drink 8 to 10 glasses of water, you have sort of convinced yourself that that's how much water you drink every single day, but it's actually not. So here's the thing with over manipulation that I discovered on my last wash day. I absolutely love my Tangle Teezer brush. This is it right here. It detangles my hair so easily. It's perfect for wet hair and dry hair. I just love this brush. But sometimes when I'm brushing out my tangles when my hair is wet with my conditioner or leave-in product, I find that it still sort of snags at my hair, especially at the roots, especially at the crown of my head where my hair is coarser. And I realized that it's been causing a little bit of breakage that I didn't think it would, because it's so gentle, it's great at detangling. But I forgot something that used to work for me for so long that works exceptionally well. Before I go in with this, I go in with a wide tooth comb, a simple wide tooth comb that you can find anywhere for like less than $1. This gets out all the little tangles that are right by the roots, gently detangling the hair. And then once all those tangles are out using this, I go in with this and it just glides through like a dream. And so this is an example of over manipulation that you might not be aware of, because you're like, I detangle my hair with a very gentle brush. It works very well. So I don't understand where my hair is breaking. Sometimes just take a second look and try and think about where you could be a little bit harsh. Another thing I find is that sometimes when I'm detangling my hair, I realize that I'm holding the brush so hard because I'm trying to get the knots out. But I always compare detangling the knots in your hair to detangling headphones. You know, if you get headphones and they're tangled, if you pull them really tight, if there's any knots, it's just gonna make the knots even harder. But if you hold it extremely gently and just like pull the cable, the cable is just gonna like untangle itself. It's the same thing with your hair. If you're holding the brush like really hard like this and doing this, you're creating resistance that isn't there. If you just let go of the tension, the comb will just glide through your hair compared to you like struggling and forcing the brush through. Relax your hand, and that's why I say, if you're angry, if you're extremely stressed or frustrated, don't handle your hair or other people's hair. Now that's like what I call secret manipulation. The more obvious ones are things like braids, twists, anything that puts extra tension on your hair. Whether they're large braids or small braids, if you're braiding them too tightly, if you're adding extra braiding hair that's too heavy onto your hair, that's manual manipulation that could be damaging your hair. Let's get to mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is using harsh products, but I'm going to define what I deem a harsh product, because I think that we are now in an age where everyone wants to be an expert and everyone wants to know more information than the doctors. And oh, big hair is lying to you, big pharma is lying to you. So they all want to bring in fear-mongering ingredients to make you stop buying, don't use parabens, don't use sulfates. I think if a shampoo is made badly, which are usually like really cheap and very high in sulfates, basically just like dishwashing soap, that's what I consider a harsh ingredient from the regular ones. But when I'm referring to harsh products, I'm talking about things that are harsh no matter the quality of the product. Whether you get a really great expensive one or a really bad cheap one, at the end of the day, some may be less harsh, but it's still harsh. I'm talking about bleach, hair dye, relaxer, keratin treatments, anything that alters the texture, the color, or the look of your hair drastically. This also includes alcohol-based hair gels that may leave your hair like really stiff and hard, not only because they are harsh products, but because you may be used to taking care of your hair in a certain way, and now that you've changed the texture or the color or a certain aspect of your hair, you think that your old routine is going to work on your new hair, and it won't. To be honest, if you are in the hair growth part of your hair journey like I am, I would suggest just not using any of these super harsh products if you're focusing on retaining length. But if you're focusing on aesthetics and you just want to play with your hair and have fun, because I think anyone should be able to do whatever they want, even if other people might think, oh, it's unhealthy, relaxers can give you cancer and all these different things. If you want to chemically process your hair, go ahead and do it. But bleached hair, for example, requires a completely different routine than just natural hair, because bleached hair, you have stripped the color, you have stripped some of the moisture from it, you need ultra moisturizing products, you need anti-breakage products, you probably need purple shampoos and conditioners and toners to tone down the brassiness, which can also add extra dryness to your hair. So you need to find things to combat all the new things that you're adding to your hair to ensure that you're not getting damaged, breaking hair, because in my opinion, long hair doesn't equal healthy hair. There's a lot of people with very long hair, but it's like super thin, or it's just not healthy at all. The healthiest hair always looks good. You can have a tiny, short little bob. You can have super long blonde hair. You can have relaxed hair. At the end of the day, when people make a comment like, oh my gosh, your hair looks amazing, it's probably because it looks healthy, not that it's long, at least in my opinion. So if I had to give advice for anyone using harsh products, I would say reduce the amount of harsh products that you're using. Mistake number 4 is neglecting the moisture of your hair. This, I would say, with most people that have natural hair or keep their hair out, if you touch your hair and have access to your hair a lot, you are probably aware when it feels dry. But I find that a lot of people neglect moisture when it comes to just being lazy or most likely a protective style. So let's say you're wearing a wig often, or you have a weave-in, or you have braids. The thought is, thank God, I can relax now. I don't have to style my hair every day. I don't have to comb my actual hair. I don't have to do much. I can just leave it to sit and grow, and I don't have to do anything. But the drier your hair is, the more prone it is to breakage. So don't neglect your hair. Don't forget that your hair needs moisture. In the middle of the week, you can go in and just add a little bit of your leave-in conditioner, seal that in with an oil. And for your ends, they do really well with using oil on your ends every single day. My current two favorites are the Kerastase Elixir Ultime. That is my number one always. And the second one I've really been loving is the Mise en Scène. I can't remember what the rest of it is called, but I'll link it in the description box below. It is such a good thick oil. They have a lighter version as well, but the one that I use is like for thicker hair. It's like more heavy duty. It almost feels like a gel, but it is amazing and it truly hydrates the ends of the hair. Mistake number 5 is going to seem like it's contradicting each other, but just hear me out, okay? I'm just gonna name mistake number 5 as trims in general. So skipping trims and getting too many trims. You want to get rid of as many split ends and damage as possible at once. I don't think you need a blunt cut to do this, but if you have a lot of split ends and you've got a lot of hair to get rid of, I think a blunt cut is a great way to start. But your hair doesn't grow out in a blunt cut, and it will continue to get into like a U shape or a V shape eventually, depending on how your hair grows. But at the end of the day, you want to ensure that when you have a lot of split ends, you cut them off. There is absolutely no way to heal a split end. Once it splits, the only way to fix it is to cut it off. The only thing you can do is to use products that are like a little bit stickier, that make your ends appear better, but you still can't fix them unless you cut them off. So that is the one thing. If you have too many split ends, it's also going to make you more prone to breakage because your hair kind of gets stuck in the snags at the end with the split ends, and it just causes a lot of problems overall. But then on the other end, a lot of people get scared of the fact that, you know, they see one split end and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to trim my hair again. And they put themselves on like an 8 to 12 week schedule, which is what a lot of hairstylists say. Every 8 to 12 weeks, get a trim. The issue is most people only grow about ½ an inch a month, right? And some people grow less than that. Some people grow a little bit more than that. If you're trimming your hair every 8 to 10 weeks, you will have amazingly healthy hair with 0 split ends. However, your hair will probably be at the same length because every time your hair grows, you get a trim and you cut it off. So if you want longer, healthier hair, cut the split ends when you have them. When you don't have them, let your hair grow. Let's get to mistake number 6, which can be surprisingly one of the causes of having too many split ends. And this is ignoring your internal health. Dare I say, this might be the tip that makes the most drastic difference when it comes to the rate of your hair growth, the overall health of your hair, and even how much hair you can grow in a month, or the speed of your hair growth. Now, we all know that you can't change your genetics, right? The genetics you are born with are the genetics you have. However, the food that you eat can change the way your genes are expressed. For example, if most of the people in your family go gray when they turn 35 years old, there's a very high chance that when you turn 35, you're also going to go gray. However, there's a lot of factors in your family genetics, like you all eat the same food, you have the same similar movements and behaviors, you have the same bad habits as well. If you were to start eating better, increasing your protein, eating more nutritious vegetables, supplementing with things that you lack in your diet or don't have access to, getting more movement, drinking enough water, doing scalp massages and taking care of your overall health, there is a very high chance that you might go gray later than the rest of your family, even if you have the genes that make you go gray earlier, because of the way you are supplementing your body with nutrition, and supplementing, I mean with food. This can change the way your genes are expressed. In the same way, regular hair growth with all your bad habits and your behavior may be less than ½ an inch a month, but genetically, maybe you are actually capable of growing like slightly over ½ an inch a month. And once you start eating right and getting more movement in, you might find that your hair actually is able to grow faster. Maybe your hair doesn't have to be so dry, but now that you're drinking so much water, your hair is a lot more hydrated, your scalp is nourished, and it's producing more natural oils that are coating your hair and preventing your hair from breaking so much faster. So now all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, my hair is growing so much faster because your genetics are now being expressed differently, even though you cannot change them. Hopefully that makes sense. If there's a scientist, maybe you can back me up. But keeping with the same point, a lot of people consider internal health as diet and exercise. But there's two important factors that I think a lot of people forget when it comes to affecting your overall health, deeply impacts your hair growth. Number one is stress. One of the highest causes of like almost all the diseases and stunted hair growth is stress. A lot of people that go gray early, a lot of people that lose a lot of hair, even people that have postpartum shedding and stuff like that. Of course, you have hormonal issues, but you forget that the stress of having a newborn baby is also affecting your hair. So your hair falling out, all those different things is actually caused by stress. So you can find ways to manage your stress. Of course, if you have a newborn baby, I'm not saying just figure it out. I'm just saying you may want to try taking a walk, more meditation, and the next thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration as well, sleep. If you are a woman, anywhere from 7 to 10 hours of sleep is ideal. And if you are a man, I believe it's 7 to 8 hours is more ideal for sleep. The more sleep you can get, the better for your overall health and especially your hair growth. All your body's cells repair themselves the most when you're asleep. So if you can relax, that will also help you de-stress. It's going to help you with your cravings. I feel like sleep fixes everything. You're working at your optimal health. You're most likely to make better choices with your food, with your movement. You're most likely to be less stressed. Everything is just going to be more balanced. And trust me, a secret no one's talking about when it comes to hair growth is simply sleep. And then within the same point, when it comes to eating healthy, I know that when it comes to growing hair, a lot of people's first idea is to rush to what hair growth supplement can I take? And they do work if you are deficient, but I always suggest you first focus on getting as much of the nutrients as possible from your food, and then you supplement with something else. So I always take hair, skin, and nails vitamins. I take multivitamins most of the time. I take vitamin D3 and some other vitamins because one, I'm a picky eater, and two, I'm in a calorie deficit because I am on a fitness journey. So I know that I am lacking some vital nutrients because your hair is not a vital organ. So if you were to get sick, if you were to get stressed, your body is going to focus on all the vital organs first, like your heart, your kidneys, your liver, and then your hair is last. If you're lacking a few nutrients here and there, first try and find it in your food, and then whatever you think you're not getting enough of from your food, then you can go ahead and supplement, and of course ensure you're drinking enough water to help distribute those nutrients all around your body. That was a long point. Let's get to mistake number 7. Mistake 7 is, I think, going to be the one that is the most annoying. Please don't hate me, but you just need to listen to this one, okay? Mistake number 7 is having unrealistic expectations, okay? Like I said, genetically, most people on average grow half an inch of hair every single month. Some people are lucky, they can even grow over 1 inch of hair in a single month, and we might look at these people and think, I'm just gonna give up then. And some people only grow like 1/4 of an inch of hair a month. You don't get to choose. All you can do is optimize. So what I would say is stop focusing on what you can change. And if you are getting frustrated, you might be measuring the wrong metric. So like every month at the end of the month, you're like, let me see if I've grown another half an inch of hair. Maybe you should be trying to see if you've got less split ends this month. Does your hair feel more hydrated? Is your hair getting thicker? Does your hair just feel better overall? Does your curl pattern look a little bit better? Focus on that. Focus on the health of your hair and optimizing as much as you can when it comes to like washing at least once a week instead of 2 times a week, oiling your ends every single day, and then track that. Like how many times have you deep conditioned your hair this time? How many times have you oiled your ends this week? And then the length will come. I know we all like to find videos and it's fun to find like a new overnight hair growth hack or something like that. But at the end of the day, let's be realistic, okay? You can't force your hair to grow, and always remember something that can be annoying to some, but I find it comforting. Remember that the time will pass anyway. if a product tells you, which honestly, this is how most products work and systems, they'll tell you, you might see results in 2 to 6 weeks, but at the end of the day, 3 to 6 months to a year is the right time frame to see true change when it comes to hair growth. Just remember that if 3 to 6 months or 1 year seems like a really long time for you to see progress, whether you do the things or not, 3, 6 months, and 1 year are still gonna pass anyway. And then at the end of the year, you're gonna wish you started focusing on your hair and doing all those things to your hair 6, 3, 1 year ago. If you avoid these 7 mistakes, you will really start to see your hair grow, and just constantly remind yourself that it is about patience, it is about consistency, and results will come. It is inevitable. If you'd like to see more videos like this, watch this video right here, especially for you. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you didn't in the beginning, and consider joining my membership, where I will give you priority response to your comments. You get early access to some of my videos and more perks. So if that seems interesting, try joining my membership. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.